Now, as you populate an aquarium like this one, you tend to go first for all of your photosynthetic loving corals, meaning all of your corals that will really use light, and they're really not as dependent on, for example, spot feeding. And what that is where you physically going out of your way to feed the animal to make sure that it's getting nutrients. Now, in an aquarium with a lot of photosynthetic corals, you'll tend to go to a lot of effort to get your nutrients right down. So you'll tend to run a very low nutrient tank. Now, one thing to just be mindful of is that particularly once you've filled your reef and you've got all of the light-loving corals, there'll be a whole lot of spots like underneath crevices and so forth that you can't put light-loving corals. And then you might start looking at things like your dendronepthias and your tobustrias and other things that are not light dependent, sponge corals and so forth. And just be mindful that when you start going into those domains, that those things need nutrients. So if you put them in a super high-tech, super low nutrient system, you might find that the non-photosynthetic animals are not getting enough energy. So that will require you to either feed them yourself by spot feeding them, particularly if you do have things like phytoplankton and so forth at your disposal, and various foods that you can feed these animals, and that will require your attention and will require you to spot feed them, which you may or may not have the diligence to do. Or it means you need to feed the system more, which means that you then may start to sacrifice your ultra good water quality that you've maybe prided yourself on for all of your photosynthetic animals. Anyway, if you have any experience with this particular subject, mixing photosynthetic and non-photosynthetic animals, then put a little note on the bottom of this video. And you do find with the non-photosynthetic ones, if you have lots of fish, you'll probably be fine for nutrients. If your aquarium is a low nutrient tank and you have a lot less fish, then instantly that becomes more of an issue.